Was driving this vehicle over my shoulder here, fled from the Bowling Green Police Department. The Bowling Green police officers were patrolling and were paying particular attention to some businesses, and this business was comprised of storage unit when they interrupted a burglary in progress. It turned out to be an armed burglary in progress in that they had a .380 Ruger semi-automatic with an extended ammunition container attached to the gun. So they fled at 12:06 in the morning. They fled north on Highway 17 through Fort Meade to Highway 640, which is at the south end of the county. Bowling Green stayed in pursuit and they asked for assistance. We began to box in the suspects as they traveled 640 to Highway 37, then north on 37 to Highway 60, which is directly in front of me. These people are experienced at running, as you'll find out in just a minute. So they turned on Prairie Industrial Parkway, which is basically a one-way in and one-way out environment. They drove in here, turned their lights off, continued to flee from Bowling Green, and my deputies were once again, for the second or third time, attempting to set up stop sticks to stop our suspects. The two suspects in the car, once again, James was driving, Justin Norris was the passenger, have extensive criminal histories. So James, once again, he turns his lights out as he pulls into this road in this industrial complex, tries to evade the Bowling Green Police Department. Our deputies come here and once again set up the stop sticks. When they find out they can't get away, they circle around the end of the complex and are driving parallel to this railroad track. Our deputies are taught specifically, don't get in front of motor vehicles. Don't get in front of motor vehicles. And the lieutenants and the deputies were doing exactly as they were told. You can see this black covering here, where they threw the stop sticks out to the side in an attempt to stop the vehicle. Lieutenant was standing here, two of the deputies were standing back where the other group of yellow markers are. Instead of the suspects driving out onto Highway 60, for whatever reason, James immediately turned, and as you can see where this dirt is, drove directly at Lieutenant Strickland. Now let me underscore once again, we don't stand directly in front of vehicles. We teach and coach every day, stand out of the way. Vehicles are big, they're heavy, they're dangerous, especially when they're driven by fools like this. But instead of driving out back onto Highway 60 and fleeing, he spins around and drives directly at the deputy. He's already driven through here one time. He knows there's no way out. So why does he drive at our deputies? We can only surmise to kill the lieutenant and the other two deputies. Immediately, we start shooting at the vehicle. James is ultimately shot in the head, in the face area. Justin is shot in the legs, and they're also grazed. And then the vehicle coasts to a stop where you see it there. So what's interesting about these guys? Do you notice the photograph here? It's Florida State Prison uniform photograph. That's right, he's all cleaned up because he's in prison. He spent 3 years and 9 months in prison. His criminal history currently is 28 felony charges, from robbery, aggravated assault, illegal drugs, burglaries. He started being arrested for felonies when he was 14 years old. Now, he's only been out of prison for 2.5 years. He obviously has short-term memory that you can end up back in prison. It's important to understand that not only is he out of prison, but he's got a failure to appear. Newsflash for burglary. These are career criminals. These are people that are very dangerous. Outstanding felony warrants, a long criminal history from everything from drugs to inappropriate driving to felonies, dangerous felonies, violent felonies. And then there's old James. James has 6 different charges from Georgia all the way through Florida. Violent charges. Currently, he has 3 outstanding warrants out of Hillsborough County for robbery with sudden snatching, aggravated assault, another violent charge, and some minor misdemeanor charges. That's 6 outstanding charges on 3 warrants. So not only were they engaged in doing an armed burglary, they also had outstanding warrants. He also has a long criminal history, from everything from drugs to burglaries to violent crimes. Oh, one of his original charges in Georgia was battery and cruelty to a child. I can see where this dude would be cruel to a child or anyone else. And he would rather run over my deputies to get away than just give up. They had 30 minutes from the time this originally began down in Hardy County to make up their mind to give up. But they fled from us. They evaded arrest. They made conscious choices to drive toward deputies, and ultimately they got shot. He is in the hospital. He's expected to recover, but he's got significant injuries. Justin was treated and released. He was shot in the legs. He's already in the county jail at this time. So let's look at the gun with the extended magazine that they had in the vehicle. Now, this was 2 Bowling Green police officers in one vehicle. One was a trainee. When they tried to confront them during an armed burglary in progress. You don't think they wouldn't have shot? Look at the extended magazine. This gun, we estimate, holds 20 rounds. We haven't been able to examine it yet. Crime scene's still working, but we will. But 3 times the original capacity at least. And then they fled with their firearm. They didn't intend to go back to jail. They thought that they would outrun the law, but the law won. Our deputies are not injured. Lieutenant Strickland is an incredibly experienced 20-year veteran. One of our other deputies was a 7-year veteran, and the third was a 2-year veteran. They followed our rules. They did their best to stay out of the way of the fleeing maniacs in this car. And then they were placed in a position where they had no choice but to shoot, and they shot a lot, which is what I expect them to do if that's necessary to save their life. Are there any questions? I've pretty well told you everything that we know. As you can see, the investigation is well underway here. There will be other information available as soon as we complete this portion of the investigation, and our PIOs will release that.
2 clarifying questions. There's 3 deputies who fired their weapons?
3 deputies fired the weapons. Okay, and in fact, let me see if I have the deputy's name here. It was obviously Lieutenant Strickland, Deputy Alex Watson, and Deputy Sheriff Dylan Harrison, and they are all okay. As you could, this is where the stop sticks ended up. I don't know if it punctured any of the tires this last time, But when they circled around and they saw that they were coming by the tracks, the deputy threw the stop sticks out, and then he ran back for cover. But these two guys were pinned between the ditch and the fence, and the lieutenant here, he thinks he's well out of the way. His vehicle's here, he's standing here, he's going to let them just drive out and then they'll re-engage. But instead they turn, come through the ditch, and you can see the debris from where they came through that ditch directly at Lieutenant Strickland. Okay?
A little hard to hear, so apologies if you addressed this. Did they point or present the handgun, or how did deputies realize
It was in the driver's seat. The suspect's handgun was in the driver's seat when we pulled them out of the car.
Did they show any signs or intent to use it as the deputies?
Well, by the time we were able to get to him, he was shot in the head and he had had all he wanted. So, but we still didn't know how bad he was injured. We still had to approach two violent, armed criminals in order to retrieve them from the vehicle. We didn't know how bad they were shot, but we, at that point, were trying to render first aid because we knew when we got to them that they were in fact shot. We were trying to shoot them. We should have been trying to shoot them with them trying to kill us. We don't choose to shoot people. People choose for us to shoot at them. And you can make sure that our deputies are going to do everything we can to take you into custody peacefully. That's why we were putting out stop sticks. That's why we weren't ramming them. But at the end of the day, they forced this circumstance. And if you force a circumstance on us, we're going to protect ourselves. That's guaranteed. Write that down. I can't hear you.
Do you all know how many shots were fired by the deputies?
A lot. We're counting them at this time. We shot at them many, many times, and we'll be able to give you an exact count whenever the investigation's complete. But all of these yellow markers represent the shell casings that we found so far. Any other questions? Okay, here's what we're going to do. This is still an active crime scene, but we want you to be able to get some photographs of the vehicle. So we can't have y'all scattered out and running around like you're known to do in order to get all kinds of information. But if you'll follow the PIOs and do as they say, we'll take you down this side of the road. You're going to have to walk through the ditch because you can't get over in the area of these yellow markers. And we'll let you get on the passenger side of this vehicle to get some pictures where it coasted into this fence. All right? Thank you very much. Have a great day. Take care.